Hi guys, welcome back to The Contented Plant. Today we are going to talk all about propagating snake plants. There are a few different ways that you can propagate a snake plant, so let's get started. So I have two different snake plants here and we are going to propagate them a couple different ways. You can see this one has these little pups on it and I'm going to show you guys how to divide them out. There's two of them on here, so I'm going to divide those pups out and pot them up together. This snake plant we're going to go ahead and do a water propagation on, so I will be cutting off one of the leaves and we're going to talk about water propagating it, and we're also going to talk about soil propagation. We're going to start with soil propagation because I actually already have one that is sitting here in the soil. So this is my mom's snake plant here. And she actually ended up knocking the tip of this one off right here. You can see there's a little boop slice right there. So this is the tip of that plant that she just plopped right down into soil. And she did that a couple weeks ago. It's already got this root right there that has started to form. So you can see it's really easy to propagate a snake plant in soil. Now, if I was going to propagate one of these in soil, I would take sharp sterile scissors and cut it right down there. And then what you want to do is cut it in 3 to 4 inch sections. So I would go ahead and make a cut and cut there, there. This one's small, so you might only be able to get 2 sections out of this one. But when you're planting them in soil, you want to make sure that you're planting them the right side down. So what you don't want to do is cut this middle section out here and you thought this was the bottom and you flip it over. It will not grow roots and your cutting will die. So you can either make a little notch in it or mark it in some way so that you know what side is the bottom, and you're going to want to stick the bottom of that leaf right down into soil. Since we're just going to stick it down in soil and let it grow, you definitely want to make sure that the soil you're putting it into is appropriate for a snake plant. So you're going to want a cactus mix or a soil that's really light and quick draining that doesn't hold a lot of water. Snake plants rot really fast in heavy, wet soil. So for this one, I have it in a cactus soil mix. For the propagation, you're going to want to keep that soil a little bit moist, not too moist because you can rot that cutting, but you also don't want it to be dry. When it's dry, it's going to inhibit growth and your cutting is not going to grow very fast or root at all. So keep it evenly moist while it is growing those roots. You're also going to want to keep it in a very bright area so you encourage that plant to grow as quickly as possible. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab this leaf right here and we are going to propagate it in water. Now for this one, you do not need the water all the way up to the top of the jar because this snake plant cutting is going to sit down in the water here. And only the portion that's going to grow roots is the portion that needs to be sitting in the water. So I have cut it. You can see it has this flat area. I am just going to notch it down into this V shape, and then this will go down in the water. Now, I want to talk about a few different things regarding this cutting. This is a very controversial topic. Some people feel very strongly about this, others do not. You can either let your cutting sit out for a day or two and it will callus over and then you can put it in water. In that case, your cutting will be perfectly fine. Or you can go ahead and just stick it down into the water. Now, a lot of people will let succulents callus over, and that's because oftentimes succulents like a jade plant have really thick leaves where they're holding a lot of water and it's kind of got that juice in it. And that can end up rotting if you just stick it straight into water. The snake plant doesn't have very thick, juicy, filled leaves, so oftentimes it is just fine if you want to go ahead and put it down into the water. It's really up to you if you want to take that extra step to let it callus over, or if you just want to go ahead and put it into water. For the sake of today's video, I'm just going to show you how we would put it in water. So I have the water level down there, and this one I'm going to take more water out and I'm only going to have water sitting about right here. And again, with this one, we're going to put it in a bright a very bright area, and it's slowly going to grow roots over the next month or two. Snake plants are not fast propagators. They are not really fast growers either. So you do kind of have to get patient when you're dealing with a snake plant propagation, but it will eventually grow roots and then you can plant it from there. So this one has these really beautiful yellow striping on the side of the leaves. It's very pretty. And you can tell a difference from this one versus this one, right? That has the solid green leaves. So something with the snake plants that kind of catches a lot of people off guard, if you propagate it by cutting it, and that means doing what I just did where you cut the leaf and put it in water, or you either put it in soil, the pups that it will grow oftentimes will revert back to this green form. So that confuses a lot of people because they will propagate a plant with these yellow stripes on it and think, oh, I'm gonna get a beautiful variegated snake plant that looks exactly like this. And really it's going to probably grow pups that are straight green. So choosing your method of propagation matters with a snake plant, especially if you want to maintain that variegation. Because we're going to divide this one out, and that means I'm going to take this pup here and there's another little pup back there. Those pups will grow and maintain the variegation because they are continuing on that growth from the old plant. If I was to take a leaf cutting from here and grow it in water or soil, those new pups would probably be green. So I'm going to divide this out so that we can get some more cute little plants with this yellow stripe. Okay, so you can see we have this little pup that's sitting right here that is so cute and so healthy. And we have another little pup that's sitting right here that also looks to be in very good condition. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to very gently kind of work these roots apart so that we can see what we have here. All right, so you can see we have this pup here, and then we have this thick rhizome here that this pup grew off of. So what I'm gonna do is take a sharp, clean knife, and I'm going to cut right here and isolate that rhizome. Okay, so I have divided this out. You can see that I've cut the rhizome there, and it has its own roots already growing off of it. So that's our first pup. So when I was looking to isolate this new pup, I actually ended up dividing this plant, which is a whole other way that you can propagate snake plants, which is by division. So you can see this snake plant is actually, it's got two plants here. So this is actually really cool because now we can see how this plant grows. It has this rhizome here that is connecting these two here. So likely this used to be the original part of this plant, and this is a pup that grew off of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and divide this rhizome by splitting it in half so that we have two rhizomes to start a new plant with. But if we wanted to, since I have divided these out, you could just go ahead and plant these into two separate plants now without needing to do any dividing or cutting. So here are the two pups that we removed from that snake plant. You can see this is the rhizome structure. It holds a lot of water for the snake plants. And when you cut it, it needs to be allowed to callus over. This is a fresh wound, and anytime you have a fresh wound, you can introduce bacteria right into it. So we're gonna let these callus for a couple days, and then we're going to plant them into the pot. So I'm going to use a terracotta pot when I plant them, and I'm also gonna show you guys my favorite mixture for snake plants. I either use a cactus mix blend or I like to use a succulent blend. It just has a lot of extra perlite in it and it's very light and airy. I also go ahead and add extra perlite in just because I'm very finicky about the mixture for my snake plants and I do not want them rotting. So when I do plant those rhizomes, what I will do is I will put this soil mixture into a little terracotta pot, and then you're going to plant them just like this, okay? Roots down, and that rhizome just kind of hangs out right there. And you wanna just plant the rhizome down into the soil, but You don't want the soil line coming up to where the green starts, or you can rot your stem here. So that's it. We actually ended up talking about 4 different ways that you can propagate. We have the water propagation, we have the stem cutting down into soil. Just remember, stick the right side down. We had division, where you could see I pulled that plant all the way out and was actually able to divide it into 2 plants without needing to cut anything. And then we have the rhizome division, where if you want to harvest the pups off the plant, you will need to cut that rhizome. Just make sure you're always using sterile tools. Please let me know if you guys have any further questions about propagating snake plants, and I will do my best to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time at the Contented Plant. Bye-bye.